Hi, hello, and welcome. I am definitely not Vlad, and you're watching me pug my way to 2.8k rating on a Guardian Druid. In this episode, I think we're going to do 5 Vortex Pinnacle runs to hopefully get the trinket, and then we're going to do our Halls of Infusion key, and maybe some more dungeons after that. Dude, I got so happy when I saw the thing popped up, but I don't really need that. Please give me the trinket. I want the trinket. Bullshit. Come on, trinket. God damn it, I keep getting these gloves. I don't need the damn gloves. I just need the trinket. Please give me the trinket. Fuck. And the 5th run is done and dusted. Let's see if we get the trinket. We do not get the trinket. I'm not even remotely surprised. Okay, well the healer's dead. He managed to die twice in the same fight. The shaman used his heal, AoE heal thing. I don't have one because I have to take the afflicted talent for cleansing them. There's one afflicted. Other afflicted got taken care of by somebody else. I'm gonna get hit by something in behind me. I can't do much about it. I use survival instincts to survive that. Focus Deljuice kicking my ass, but I had survival instincts rolling, so it wasn't so bad. And incarnation. And boss is dead. No thanks to this healer. Keystone Master. Is that for completing a 15 or higher? Cool. Let's get cracking with an Uldaman Legacy of Tyr. Fortified, we have Raging and an Afflicted. Well, the group seems to know how to deal with Afflicted, but I'm never going to say that they absolutely know, because you never know what your group knows until you know what your group knows. Like, they can say whatever they want. I don't trust most groups to do what they say they can. Got stunned here. Should still be fine. I have a lot of cooldowns running. Going to use my incapacitating roar to CC things. I was just gathering there, so I was silent for a second. I'm saving my interrupt for chain lightning, because that's what really kills you. Could probably use one interrupt here. Yep, there's a chain lightning. I'm going to move over to this side. There's afflicted. I'll get the other afflicted. And we should be fine. Very nice. Need this guy to die. Be nice if I could get that disease dispelled. I can't dispel diseases from myself. There we go. Use a frenzied region to keep myself alive. Barkskin here. We're going to move over to this corner so I can line of sight my healer. Kick that chain lightning, move out of the stun. If I get stunned here, I'm probably dead. Rage of the Sleeper up. Gonna use survival instincts here. Okay, I'm a little bit in trouble now. Need people to actually start kicking things. Gotta kick the bolts if you want big pulls. Okay, so as I told the group, they gotta kick the bolts if they want big pulls. Get rid of that afflicted, wait for everyone to regroup. I guess I'll slow down on the pulls. That pull was pretty big because I was a little bit in trouble. Didn't have any defensives left to use. We're gonna do smaller pulls here. We're gonna moonfire that, and then we're gonna line of sight. Barkskin here. Move out of the way of that stun. Look for the chain lightning on the Geomancer here in a second. I'm going to do AoE CC because I saw multiple cast bars. Rage of the Sleeper. My health is yo-yoing a lot. I'm not taking good care of myself. People need to start kicking those because they actually really fucking hurt. I'll start kicking them myself. Incarnation here. I got stunned because I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I'm doing my absolute darndest here. Best as I can. And this just isn't really working out. I guess I didn't pop Incarnation like I thought I did because it's not on cooldown. I guess I just missed it or something. How did I miss an off the global cooldown ability? But oh well. Need to remove Enrage from that thing because I'm getting my ass kicked a bit too much. I think it was the recklessness that it casts on itself. We're going to go second boss first since we didn't use Bloodlust on the first pull. I'm going to hit everything here. We're going to use Incarnation here. I'm looking at the Geomancer kicking the Chain Lightning. I'm going to drop this down and push everything back. They'll get pulled back in. Using Frenzied Regen. I have Incarnation running. I don't want to overlap anything with Incarnation. Incarnation should be enough to keep me alive. As long as people actually kick shit, it would be actually plenty. But I guess people just aren't going to kick anything. I'm looking at these cooldowns, but I'm not seeing the effect of those cooldowns. I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing things. Anyway, I'm going to stop being salty. I'm going to explain what I'm doing here. We're going to go for the next boss, the second boss first, because I'm going to interrupt that. Because we want to use Bloodlust on the second boss, because the second boss is harder than the first boss. This shouldn't be done on Tyrannical. This shouldn't be done on, whatchamacallits, on Fortified. But the group decided to hold Bloodlust, or the mage decided to hold Time Warp for not using it on the first pull. Usually use it on the first pull, because then you can pull a huge pull and get away with it. And remove Enrage from one of these enemies. And let's get going. Charge the Geomancer. Once these guys start getting low, and by these guys I mean the Berserkers, I'm going to pull the boss into the group as well. Incapacitating Roy that. Chain Lightning actually hurts more than anything else. I'm going to knock back. Okay, people are actually starting to kick now. I'm proud of them. Good for you guys. Need to remove one of these guys. The other one needs to get removed. Once they reach about 55% HP, something like that, we're going to pull Brahmak into the group, and then he's going to get double enraged. We're going to use Rage of the Sleeper, and we're going to use anything with the stuffy stuff. We got Recklessness. We got 2 stacks of Recklessness on our guy here. He's going to be taking a shit ton of damage. I need to just make sure that I use my defensives accordingly here. There we go. I need to use Rage of the Sleeper or Incarnation here. I'm going to take care of this Afflicted Soul because nobody else seems to want to do that. Move to the Totem. Boss is no longer affected by the debuff from the buff, I guess. It's a buff with a downside, the Recklessness from the Berserkers, but it paid off to do that because he took a lot more damage at the beginning, and I saw people pop cooldowns. At least the Paladin popped a lot of cooldowns right at the beginning. At the very least, he used his Divine Reckoning. I'm going to hit that Geomancer. I'm going to interrupt him to force him to group up. I'm going to put down Ursol's Vortex to make all the ambushers get yoinked back into the group. Fortunately, we have to move for the Totem quite a bit. Rage of the Sleeper and Barkskin overlap. I'm going to kick that Chain Lightning. I don't want that going off on the group. Brahmak is stunned again. 19% mana. That's interesting. I guess, yeah, I have been dragging him around quite a bit without giving him a chance to drink. Gathering all the enemies. I'm going to kick this again to force the guy to get over to me. People got hit by that Thundering Slam somehow. I don't even know what the fuck they did to get hit by that. I've never seen people get hit by that unless they're just really, really lazy. Nobody kicked the Chain Lightning. And the boss is dead. Get rid of these. Let's go back to the first boss. At least we used Time Warp for this fight, so that's good. Give people movement speed. Okay. Somehow I am third in DPS, slightly above the Rogue, which is genuinely surprising, but then again, it was an AoE fight, and I have quite a bit of AoE damage. Maybe the Rogue just wasn't getting enough Blade Flurry off, although that's most of his damage. I don't know. Maybe the Rogue is undergeared. I don't recall what his item level was. Okay, everyone's here. We're going to pull. Healer was drinking, so I don't have to worry about that. Eric is going to charge, but no sooner than I'm going to wait for Wild Cleave to end, and then I'm going to charge over to Eric. I'm going to use Incarnation here. I was waiting for Wild Cleave to go off because I wanted to make sure that nobody gets hit by the thingy thing with the stuffy stuff. Paladin got hit by the Frontal Cone. And I'll get the other Afflicted Soul. I'm standing over here to make sure that these zones get baited into a spot where they won't bother us once these guys are done flying around on their little boat. So I'm standing in this corner of the room. I'm going to actually just take them all the way up here, because what I can do then is I can force Eric to run over to me because I'm out of his line of sight. Eric is going to charge over to here. I'm going to make sure that I point Balog to the wall. There's a defensive stance. The reason I'm pointing Balog to the wall is because I want to make sure... Okay, people are just ignoring that. Well, at least the DPS are. The healers on top of the spells. He's got the most. The reason I wanted to point Balog at the wall is because he's the one that does the Wild Cleave, which I don't want anyone getting hit by that. Does quite a bit of damage. Boss should be going down here, and there we go. That was a bit cleaner than the first boss, or I guess the first boss that we did second was cleaner than the second boss that we did first. How's that for a statement right there? This is going quite a bit better, even though we wiped at the beginning. This is going quite a bit better than the whatchamacallits, the Halls of Infusion that I did before this. That was a absolute shit show. People were just kind of not doing their job, which was interrupting stuff, and I don't know. It felt like a bad run, so I'm probably going to edit that thing down quite a bit. I'm going to pull all of these guys. Just gotta make sure that people actually CC them. I'm going to start stutter stepping. I did get hit by one. I'm going to use survival instincts because I should not be getting hit by those. I'm going to knock them all back. Once the slow from the knockback is done, I'm going to put down Saw's Vortex. There it is. Somebody got stunned, one of the custodians. You're getting yoinked back bit by bit. Okay, I don't care about the little custodian guys. I really don't give a shit about their damage. The Refty custodians are what I'm really worried about. Okay. Need them. Oh, I'm gonna get hit by a lot here. Okay, I didn't get hit by anything. It looks like I dodged it or something. I'm not sure. Somehow the rogue is dead. I'm not going to use a battle res on this. I'm going to knock back the Refty custodians. Just keep kiting them, nice and easy.
3, 2, 1.
That Ring of Peace was kind of useless. Okay, this is concerning. But we should be fine. Yeah, this thing's dead. Is the rogue being rezzed? Yes, it is. Very good. We can move on to the next boss. This boss basically dropped the orbs near the boss, like the circle thing that you get as DPS or a healer. You drop that near the boss. The tank's job in this one is actually quite fun, to be completely honest with you. I'm going to use Incarnation and my Heart of the Wild. Okay, so there's no way for me to just take one of these orbs, so I'm just going to take one orb here. Or what I'm talking about is basically she gets 2 orbs around her, there's 1 left. I can't pull her through this. There we go. Because I would have stunned her, and you want to stun her when she's casting Titanic Empowerment. The reason you stun her is because the Titanic Empowerment is this huge buff that she gets. You don't want her to get the huge buff, so you have to deal with it accordingly by getting her stunned. You can also use player stuns on her if you mess up one of the orbs, and if somebody in your group walks into one of the orbs, you have to actually use a player stun on her to interrupt that cast. Otherwise she gets very, very powerful and starts hurting a whole lot. And those crushing stomps that you saw, those start one-shotting people on high tyrannical keys. I mean, even on lower tyrannical keys they kind of hurt like hell, so you don't want to have to deal with that. You're just going to drag her through some of these. Oh, well, somebody stunned her. I did not want her to get stunned there. That was actually very irritating. It gave her a stack of a buff. Every time she gets stunned, by the way, she gets a stacking buff, like a stack of her buff that increases her damage done. So you don't want her to get stunned unless she absolutely has to get stunned. So whoever did that, not a good call. There's no reason to do that. I'm going to pull these guys. I'm going to pull them around the corner here. Hopefully nobody stands in these cleaves. You have a few hails of stone going off at the same time. You want to interrupt those with CC. I use my incapacitating roar there. Next time I see a bunch of hails of stone, I'm going to use my knockback. Those stone bolts should be getting kicked, but I'll deal with it. Those are the only things that we need to kick in this group. That's just 1 hail of stone. There's a second, there's a third. I can't kick them now. I can't move them because they're anything with the stuffy stuff. They have raging on them. I should have removed raging from them and then used my knockback. That was my bad. I forgot about raging because I've only done a few dungeons where I had raging. We're going to pull this group into the next group. Hopefully nobody rips aggro off me here. We're going to use Incarnation here. We're also going to stand behind this corner and line of sight our healer, but also line of sight all the other mobs. I'm going to use Incapacitating Roar. I'm going to interrupt this curse. We're going to focus the warders here to make sure that they get interrupted. Once my Incarnation runs out, I'll use Survival Instincts, but I don't think I need to use it here. I do still have my knockback available. I'm going to drop my Ursol's Vortex on them, so if I do have to knock them back, which I'm going to do now, they get pulled back in. I'm looking for a Weaver. There's one Weaver. I'm going to interrupt him. And once he gets raging, I'm going to remove it so that he can get CC'd by my... Okay, he got CC'd by the monk, so I wasted my incapacitating roar, but it worked out. This was a very good pull. This was much better than the first one because I was actually paying attention to raging. The Runic Protector here is a pain in the ass because he does... First of all, he does this frontal that absolutely just kicked my ass because I didn't have any defensives up. That's my bad. But also, because he does Earthquake, and there's no way to really avoid Earthquake damage other than just out-healing it and using the group defensives or something like that. So a Rallying Cry from a Warrior is a good call here. I'm going to use Survival Instincts here because I'm getting my ass kicked. One of the thingy things went off. We had 4 people. Yeah, I'm just getting my ass kicked way too hard because my Survival Instincts ran out. That's on me. Didn't have defensive up for that. I don't know if there was something the group could have done to help me survive there. I don't think there is. Maybe I could have gotten an external from the monk, but I don't think. Maybe I even did, and I still died. But yeah, I should have rotated my defensives better than that. I'm gonna wait for the group to get over here. The paladin's over there, along with the mage, and let's get going. We did kill one of the little guys at least, so there's not gonna be a hail of stone. Rage of the Sleeper and what's it called? Bark Skin up. I'm gonna be looking at the order so I can interrupt that curse. There it is. I'm gonna use Incarnation here once the Earthquake channel is done because the Fissuring Slam that was gonna go down. I'm probably doing something wrong here that I'm not noticing. If you guys can see what exactly I'm doing here that's so completely wrong, please do let me know. But I think it's just not having the cooldowns available. Maybe I was standing in the Fissuring Slam when maybe I was standing in the little zones on the ground while I was being hit by Fissuring Slam, and that makes you take more damage. Gonna Incapacitating Roar here because I couldn't target the other Cavern Seeker in time. Gonna Bark Skin, interrupt this. Gonna knock him back. I don't want that silence to go off because I don't trust this group to survive if the healer gets silenced. The healer's doing a wonderful job from what I can see, because he's the pretty much only one that's actually dispelling the afflicted. The paladin has done 3 dispels. Okay, going to dispel myself because I have stacks of poison. And there we go. I'd like Bloodlust on this boss. Look here, please. The reason I want Bloodlust on this boss is so that we can skip one of the phases. Time Warp. Today, please. Thank you. Hey, he read chat. Good job. Being salty. Shut up. Take care of that thing. The rogue is standing and shit. Got slammed by one of the circle thingies. We're probably moving to let people have an easier time to avoid that. Got hit by a defensive, so I used one of my frenzied regions. Okay, here comes the intermission. Now let's see, he's pointed that way, so we're gonna stand here. We're gonna deal with this. Paladin battle res the mage. Not gonna use anything here. Just gonna take care of these guys bit by bit. Give people movement speed. Not much point in me hitting this, so I'm just gonna keep moving to the next one. The rogue is on the other side of the room, because I don't know how he was. What was he doing there? Like, he can see the little nipple icon on me. He knows where he needs to go. Okay, I'm going to target that one in the back. Here we go. Oh no, dude, what the hell? I thought I was targeting I thought I was targeting this thing, and I charged in and got hit by the middle circle thing. That's so stupid. I feel dumb now, but okay, we got through it. Yeah, I'm messing up a lot in this dungeon. I should not be taking this much damage from trash, and I should not be making these mistakes on the boss fights. I'm gonna slightly move the boss just a little bit by bit so that people can more easily avoid the orbs. Okay, get rid of the afflicted here. I don't have movement speed to give for another 4 seconds. 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so for the Ebonstone Golems, what you want to do is you want to position it in such a way where you can easily let melee line of sight the thunderclap thing. Waiting for the other Hail of Stone. Now we're going to interrupt with my incapacitating roar. The monk was on top of it. I'm going to bark skin here. Now people should be line of sighting this, but they're just kind of standing in it. I guess because it's a 16 key, so they can kind of get away from it. But in super high fortified keys, you want to line of sight that. The thunderous clap or whatever the heck it's called. Because otherwise you're going to get clapped. And to interrupt those because they were dispelled or soothed, so they didn't have the enrage on them anymore. Guess nobody's line of sighting, so I don't have to really give a shit about where I'm going to position. Let's clean this up. And we're going to take this guy. Okay, we have the Weaver. We're going to interrupt one of his things. You're standing near this pillar here because you can line of sight behind that pillar. Into AoE CC. There was a blinding light as well. That's good. I'm going to use Rage of the Sleeper and Bark Skin to survive all of this. Nobody's kicking the stone bolts, so I'm getting my ass kicked by them. I may as well kick them myself. There's nothing else. There's no warder, so there's no curse to interrupt, so I don't have to worry about that. Hopefully I don't have to use my incarnation here to survive. I would really like it if I didn't have to use my incarnation here to survive. Because I'm going to do a pretty big pull here in a second, and I'd rather not have to use my incarnation here. Okay, it's just the one mob. I know it's a small pull and that doesn't feel great, but the next pull is going to be pretty massive. And the mage does have cooldowns for the next pull, and the mage has been doing quite well. At least on single target, I don't know. Right now I'm looking at it, it's not looking too hot. Okay, so we have the warder. I'm going to make sure that we don't... I need to kick that curse. Survival instincts here. Once survival instincts runs out, 2, 1 incarnation and part of the wild for extra damage. I'm going to try and point the group or the mobs away from the group. Remove that with my dispel. The reason I'm pointing the mobs away from the group is because there's custodians. Custodians do a frontal cleave. You don't want them to be doing that cleave on your melee. And melee usually don't use their brains, so they don't don't stand behind the boss. That's rude. Melee probably do that well enough. We're gonna move on to the next group. Gonna make them stand here in this hallway. Shouldn't make them turn their back towards the rest of the group. What you can do here is you can line of sight behind these pillars now. And I'm gonna get that afflicted. There we go. I'm getting my ass kicked. 1 frenzied regen. I'm not keeping defensives up properly. That is like the theme of this entire dungeon, is me not keeping my defensives up properly. Okay, people are actually line of sighting this time. I don't know why they didn't line of sight on the other ones. Maybe because this one is just where they get punished for not line of sighting, because there's 2 of them. So if you just ignore both, the healer can't actually get you up on time. I'm not going to use any cooldowns here because the guys are almost dead. And we have pretty much every cooldown in the book available by the team, so we're just going to go ahead and pull everything here. I'm going to pull them over closer to one of the pillars. I'm looking for curse casts. We're going to interrupt all that with an incapacitating roar. It's another curse cast. I'm going to knock back. I don't want any curses to go through. Like, that's my priority right now, is making sure no curses go through. One of them got dispelled. I'll dispel the other one. I have incarnation soon. I'm going to use one of my frenzied regions to keep myself alive here. Consider that a defensive. It's not as good as just mitigating damage, healing damage, but it's something. I'm going to bark skin here because the enemies are getting pretty low. It's just the Ebonstone Golem and the Guardian. I don't have to worry about them killing me. It's just when there's a lot of enemies that I have to worry about it. Okay, there's a clap. People are just standing in it because they don't give a shit. They should line of sight. I think the Paladin tried to line of sight. Or maybe, actually, I saw the Rogue run from the pillar. Maybe I should just bring it closer so people can move to the pillar quicker. Because it looks like they're just mistiming it and not going to the pillar on time. Okay, we have wings from the Paladin. And Divine Reckoning just went down on just these 2 guys. I'm so stupid. I am so painfully... Like, it's physically painful how stupid I am. I didn't use any cooldowns. I keep talking instead of focusing on the dungeon. What I might actually have to do here is switch from me commentating while I'm running to... Sorry, I'm just going to do that right away. What we might have to do is switch from me commentating while I'm running to me commentating as narration after the run, because I am just not focused enough when I commentate on these things. Going to remove that one in the back. Hopefully this one here in the front gets... he got healed by my Heart of the Wild, I believe. I don't think he was dispelled. I'm not sure though. Might be again. Add note, defensives up while gathering. Yeah. Eh. The rogue says I'm doing good. I'm gonna tell him to check out the YouTube channel and see how well I did. He's gonna hear me talking about how badly I'm doing. Okay, we're gonna survival instincts here. Dropping pretty low. Should be able to skip the last two guys because I did pull everything I usually pull. We're gonna remove that from the guys. Okay, it's just a Time Weaver and the one blood Infinite Agent. Ooh, I think he got interrupted because I don't see the buff on him. Either that or the mage spell stole it, which is also good. Interrupt that. Frenzied Region myself. People need to start line of sighting or the rogue needs to use Cloak of Shadows. Okay. I'm going to actually help heal the rogue. Okay. Because that is really rough. We can shroud. We can just shroud right behind them. Okay, very good. The mage is just going around the other way anyway. Okay, mage made it through really quick, so it doesn't matter. Cool, we have the Lust on first. What are they called? First time rewind. Waiting like 20 secs. Oh, the reason I'm waiting is because I want to use Bloodlust at the same time as the first time rewind time goes off. I may hold CDs for the rewind to go big bada boom. Waiting until it's like 45 seconds and I'm going to pull. And we pull, okay. Okay, let's use Rage the Sleeper and Barkskin. Getting knocked back. Group's taking quite a bit of damage from that. The group's positioned around the middle a bit too much, and I really don't like that because that makes the orbs go in the middle, and when the orbs go in the middle, then you don't have much of the room left later on. The people are positioning incorrectly, in my opinion, but what can you do? Looking for the spirit. I can't target the spirit. And there it is. Okay, managed to get it off. Here's rewind time. We have time warp. You should be using time warp. There it is. Okay. So this was ideal. We got time warp and this, so everyone's probably haste capped. Okay, there's the sandy thing. I'm going to use a frenzied regen immediately after it. I'm going to remove one of these. There's another one the other person can get. It looks like it's mostly just me and the whatchamacallits. I'm going to start moving this so people can actually have somewhere to stand because they surrounded themselves with orbs. I really want the boss to move. There we go. Boss is now moving. Very good. Getting knocked back. I'm going to move into the boss to make sure that I don't get knocked back too far. Okay. I removed one, the other person removed another. Use frenzied regen here. Slightly moving the boss so people have somewhere to stand behind. Oh, I didn't realize rewind time was going. That's my bad. Should have moved them closer to these zones so we can first of all soak. Second of all, we can get into the thingy thing and get the full haste buff. Defensive. I'm going to use survival instincts here. That person almost ran into that. Sand breath. Move the boss a little bit more. What I'm trying to do by moving him is make sure that people have somewhere to stand to melee DPS and also not spread the... I don't have a defensive here, but I'm just using a frenzied regen charge. Trying to move the boss a little bit more. He does so much casting that it's hard to actually move him because half the time he's casting some stupid shit. Eternity orbs, he should be going down here in a second. Rewind time coming in 7 seconds. If we don't kill him by then, we'll kill him during the rewind time, but he goes down, and that's my first 16 key. Actually, no, it's not. I just did a Halls of Infusion before that. I messed up a lot in this run. We started things off with 5 Vortex Pinnacle runs. We didn't get the trinket, which we were going for. What we did get, though, was a couple of Worms Shadowflame Crests and a bit of Flight Stones, so we used those to upgrade our gear, and now we're at 430 item level. After that, we ran a Halls of Infusion 16. To be honest, it went pretty well. We 2-started. We dropped the 18 Uldaman that we got to a 16 because I didn't feel ready to do an 18 just yet. I'm still not used to the damage output of enemies at 16, so I'm still gonna give myself a few rounds of 16s before I push any further than that. We had, I believe, 2 wipes and one like half wipe. The first wipe happened on the second pull of the dungeon. The first pull went through fine because we just used all of our cooldowns. Then the second pull was a bit rough because I overpulled the number of enemies. I kept saying that people were not kicking enough. What ended up really being the problem was I pulled too many things that need to be kicked, and I didn't manage my cooldowns properly. The second time we wiped was completely my fault. Like, I give no blame to anyone else. The issue was the fact that I did not have a cooldown up for when I was hit by a tank buster. I might have been doing something else wrong on top of that, but like the core of it was me just not managing my cooldowns in a way where I had one available for the tank busters. And the half wipe that I mentioned was basically it was because I didn't use my cooldowns while I was running and gathering. We upgraded our legs and our chest for a few times with the Worm's Crest that we got, so we're now sitting at 430 item level. Our new best clear is this plus 16 Halls of Infusion that we did earlier in the episode, and our RIO is sitting at 1755, which isn't particularly high, but honestly, our RIO doesn't even matter until we get close to doing 20 keys. In the next episode, I'm going to try and complete my Heroic Aberrus clear, which means I need to kill Echo of Neltharion and Sarkareth. Hopefully I get invited now that I'm sitting at 430 item level. It's still going to be rough probably because I don't have curve, but we'll see how it goes. If I don't manage to get into any groups for Echo and Sarkareth, I'm going to just do some Mythic Plus dungeons. I'm probably going to do some more Vortex Pinnacle runs for the Worm Crests, as well as the just a crack at the Heart of the Thunder trinket that I really want, and those are the plans for the next episode. Thank you very much for watching this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.